Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf is a seminal or a landmark show that really brought about the whole contemporary Islamic calligraphy movement itself.
Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our Art Rising Art Talk. CIMB Artober, ladies and gentlemen, is a campaign originated by CIMB to add vigor and vitality to our very exciting local art scene. So welcome Scarlette, and welcome Husin. And I might add, Husin is tuning in from his studio. So before I begin, let's have a little intro about our two speakers today. So Husin Hourmain pretty much came from the corporate sector, but his passion for art saw him starting his career as a full-time visual artist in 2002-2003. In 2004, Husin did his first solo exhibition titled Energy, where Husin introduced his abstract expressionist works. Lauded as the foremost Islamic contemporary calligraphy artist in Malaysia, Husin Hourmain is now a household name, following his highly successful Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf 2013. The show is regarded a benchmark, symbolizing art went beyond barriers of race, religion, and nationality. His works continue to be collected by various corporate institutions and private collectors. As for Scarlette, Scarlette Lee is the director of Core Design Gallery. Core Design Gallery is an exclusive boutique art gallery based in Malaysia that represents the face of Malaysian contemporary art and artists since 2010. Through solid art management, Core Design Gallery creates a true representation of investment-grade artists whose works befit the criteria of critical value and museum quality. How are you guys doing?
Hello, Ismail.
Hi, Ismail. I'm good.
Thanks for having us here.
It's my pleasure. Let's start from the beginning, circa 2002-2003. So, Husin, we know that you came from the corporate sector, yes, and you made a revolutionary career switch. Tell me what inspired this push, right?
I had this ambition of being an artist, full-time artist, since the age of 10. So what happened is that at the age of 10, I saw a group of men. So they were painting a movie poster, a huge poster. So I was inspired. So I knew this is what I wanted to do. And true enough, my first job interview, it was at KT Theatre. Unfortunately, I did not get the job, but I got a job somewhere else in Regent International Hotel. But the work scope is almost the same. I was an in-house artist at that point in time. Then I went into agencies, small agency. Then I got stuck with Avon Cosmetic for almost 14 to 15 years. Built up myself over there in Avon.
So during this period, the burning desire to become an artist was still there, lah?
It is still there. It's just that I was waiting for the right time. Till 2003, I spoke to Izu Gallery, and he spoke to me actually. Then we tried to do the show during in 2004. That was my first solo.
I heard that in order to pay for your art, you even have to sell nasi lemak those days, right?
What happened is when I decided to leave the advertising world, so I have to live easy life. I can't afford to pay my rent, my mortgage every month. So we decided to sell the house that we have. Then we were renting ever since until I moved here. But thank God I have a wife who understands the situation.
Yeah, she deserves an award, Husin.
Yeah,
you really put art as the priority, right?
It took him, I think, a journey of 20 over years to come to this. Nobody really understands the earlier struggles, as I said, like, selling nasi lemak bungkus by the roadside, just to push the whole thing through just for the sake of art itself. That is Husin had a photo taken during one of the photo shoot for his at his studio. This was a studio before he moved to Kuala Kangsar itself. The first Ola was in Energy Gallery Izu, right? Then subsequently, you came out with the second solo exhibition known as Zero to Something, Zero to Nothing. As you can see, this you can see his abstract expressionist strokes is actually already very evident even in his 2008, in his earlier days itself.
Most of my work is basically channeled to my spiritual belief. You know, that's why in energy, I was trying to portray the energy that every one of us have. Either the energy goes into the negative or the positive. I was trying to portray what I had to go through during that period. You know, there's a lot of decisions that I have to make in life. I have family behind me. That's why you see a lot of road hurdling each other. You know, on this piece of work. And I was inspired by Pollock.
Yeah.
This work, if you can see, you know, the relief stroke, not having the brush touching the canvas.
This is the Ola study, which is done in 2006. It can be said as to be your very, very first calligraphy work that you have done before you transition into the Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf.
Yeah, this was done in 2006. So what happened is after 2004 until 2008, I have done a lot of things as far as trying to discover myself in terms of what kind of art direction. I'm still into Islamic art, spiritual journey, but in terms of visual form, I was looking for it. Exact 2006, I had the group show, my series called Kembara, but the whole show is called Inside. 4 of us, me, Yusuf Ghani, Chief, and Suhaimi Fadil. So we did the group show. Kembara series was talking also about spiritual journey lah. But basically, I was trying to portray the incident that happened in Bali, the bombing thing. I was again talking about the energy lah, you know. That was the time lah. Then Allah study came in between that.
Then after that, you continue on to work on some certain works on the Alif, Ba, Ta.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was invited to send a work for one of the gallery for Ramadan. The response was good, but there was no purchasing power for the work. I think because maybe it's too Islamic. I'm not so sure why.
That is actually quite an interesting point. Probably, especially during the earlier years, Islamic art or Islamic calligraphy was not very popular choice then. Yeah, this is part of the Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf series for 3 years. 3 years to complete 30 paintings.
Now, what happened is after I did Allah, I did the Alif. The Alif came back to me. Then in between that, Farouk came over to the studio.
Also a collector as well, yeah.
He's also a collector, my collector, and he wanted to see the development on my side. When I sent Alif to the gallery, he saw the work, but he was surprised that the work was not picked up. When Farouk came to the studio, he saw that Alif, then he saw the Allah study. He was impressed to see that I'm working something on the calligraphy direction. Then he asked me to send Alif for a charity show that he's conducting. So together with that, I did another Bata and Sa smaller piece. It was sold. He's able to sold all 4. In fact, that was the time that he was convinced that I've got something which I can't see myself. You know, it takes him to be able to see what the potential that I have and to convince me to go into the Islamic calligraphy.
So this is a 2009 bar.
2009, yes.
I just wanted to share as well how Husin's development was, you didn't follow sequentially, right?
Yeah,
the work at Alif Bata, so you did it according to how you want to do it that time. Right? So this was one of the works, MIM. This was done in 2010.
Scarlette pun pandai baca Jawi now.
Nah, of course. Dah berapa tahun been trained by Husin. And then this is taught 2011. So you can see as he transitioned further and he develops further, the maturity in his strokes, he gets more confident. I especially love the tour because it uses big brush strokes. Yeah. Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf is a seminal or a landmark show that really brought about the whole contemporary Islamic calligraphy movement itself. And one thing I love about Husin's palettes is that he brings out a very strong cultural Malay essence in it. It's a bit of has this texture feel of a bit of a batik and also yet the colors is very earth tone, a very Malay culture kind of colors. When I first heard about his works, then I quickly gave him a call, went to his studio and started looking at the works themselves. I mean, to me that time, I was like, why Husin doesn't have any galleries who's looking into doing this body of works yet? It's no brainer, because you have 70% of the population who are Muslim who would love to see this kind of work. And plus, Husin has done it as a typography. It's a very universal, art is very universal, very universal language itself. But because I saw it was such an important body of works, that can spur a whole new movement of contemporary Islamic calligraphy. It deserves a fitting point, a beautiful space for it, Then I spoke to Husin, why don't we try all these different institutions? We tried to apply to National Art Gallery to get a space to do the show, Islamic Art Museum, Bank Negara, and all those. So, but unfortunately, they rejected this show to do the show itself. So we decided, forget about it. We'll just do it in the private space. We managed to launch it in White Box itself, all beautifully 30 works. I think we had a huge opening. I think few hundred people were there. With all different races, everyone came together and celebrated the event, whether Chinese, Indian, Malay, you name it.
If you notice in Europe, the non-Muslim collected all kind of art, inclusive calligraphy work. So I think it's being accepted worldwide. I think it takes a while. I hope by now people don't look at it's a typography, calligraphy by itself.
I must say, the whole Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf was very well accepted, widely accepted.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. We had strong media coverage. I think we had more than 10 different magazines, newspaper, radio stations interviewing Husin. The whole event, the whole exhibition itself became very well received.
Right. So it was a nice feather in the cap.
Yes.
Huge accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
After the initial struggle.
Yeah.
I think I have to add this in, Scarlette. The process of doing Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf, it took me 3 years. So many things happened in between. That is where you mentioned the nasi lemak came in. So 3 years as a full-time artist is a long period. Financially, I was stuck in terms of getting the material. I'm out of colors, I'm out of canvas, I'm out of stretcher. So I stopped. I was panicking, and that is where my wife supported me. We sell nasi lemak for a while. But what happened is Farouk came for a visit to the studio. So then he read my mind in between what really happened. So basically from that period onwards, 2010, I have to say this, he funded the show actually. He funded me to go on and not to worry about where I'm going to get my material money next. I thank him for that.
I think Ismail, you can see that actually the patronage of collectors is very, very important now. Especially, I think now we celebrate for Husin, but it's like the earlier days. If the patronage didn't come in, he wouldn't have been able to do this important show and create a whole new movement altogether. For Core Design Gallery, we did a show called GMCA, Great Malaysian Contemporary Arts. Previously, before we did this whole GMCA, Art Expo, yes, they do have the visitors, but mainly the booths were very much dominated by more of overseas galleries and all that. So many people didn't really know much about our Malaysian contemporary art. So I wanted to take a step forward to bring what we mean by our Malaysian artwork are really there. And we wanted to show that. And so, of course, we started the whole thing called the GMCA, which is the Great Malaysian Contemporary Art. And definitely, without a doubt, Husin was invited to participate in the show as well, along with with other artists such as Hamir Soib, Zulkifli Yusuf, Fadli Yusuf, and Anwar Rashid, and all those, and many others.
I think you were part of history at that time. This show was a very important show.
Yes, it has transformed the whole perception of the Malaysian public in general. From they used to think that Malaysian, so-called buatan Malaysia, tak boleh pakai lah, lousy lah, this or that. When this whole thing came about, the Malaysian public just went like, wow, Malaysian art is the best amongst the whole exhibition hall.
Yeah. I think for the uninitiated, sometimes they can't handle it. It was quite a shock to the system, right?
Yeah.
But of course now in a good way, right? That's how these works of art can actually move and transform one's opinions and mindsets. So little did we know that you were behind all of this, Scarlette.
And I was still quite young that time, okay, Ismail.
So this was in 2013. I was
quite berani lah. I was only probably 4 years into doing an art in my art gallery business, So, of course, Husin gave us a beautiful work known as Yasin and Nota Untukmu. It's another very major piece that came out from Husin during this GMCA. And this is the cube piece. It was featured in the GMCA too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you maybe probably explain, Husin?
Yeah, the main story that I wanted to tell in this particular work is I'm trying to portray the 5 pillars of Islam, Rukun Islam. So if you notice in the whole work, all the 5 Rukun Islam is being mentioned inside it. If you look at it, the circle are being surrounded with the Shahadah. The first thing in Islam, you have to say the Shahadah to be a Muslim. Then the second is the Salat. The Puasa is also mentioned inside there. So the closing is basically the Hajj. So you see all you see the alphabets represent men, people that circle the Kaabah, pilgrims. Then the center of it is the cube. So I call it the cube because it's the focus point of Islam, Yeah, I don't want to be too literate to use solid green to represent because people will connect green with Islamic color, but I don't want that to happen. But indirectly, I use turquoise, orange, and some minimal color to complete the whole work.
You can see that the cube very much led the way to the next 5 years journey for Husin. And I think from what I understand from that few years when I went to visit you in Kuala Kangsar and all those, you were saying that you were quite obsessed with sketching the different forms, the different shapes of the cube itself, because you're trying to find a concept, you're trying to find what you are looking into for this solo exhibition.
And I just moved to Kuala Kangsar at that point of time. I have a new space, a big space. I basically agree with Scarlette. I spent about 6 months to do my research. So then I decided I wanted to continue from Rukun Islam to Rukun Iman. So if you can see, the Rukun Islam is slightly a bit colorful because in practice, yes, Rukun Islam is basically things when you do, you see, something that you do.
A lot of daily rituals.
Yeah, a lot of ritual practicing being done in Rukun Islam. So when it comes to Rukun Iman, basically most of it is internal. I think it's a bit challenge for me to portray internal belief and convert them into a visual form. So I did a lot of reading in the hadith and talking to people. Then I decided I would go into it.
Best part is in 2018, we finally had the show in the National Art Gallery itself.
Yes.
Ismail, you were there. Maybe you want to share with us how you felt when you were there for the show itself. It was
a highly conceptual show, I thought. It was all this. I felt pieces of puzzle that Husin was trying to put together, right? Because it was a departure from the Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf kind of works. It was, it was nothing that I have ever seen before.
If you notice from the beginning slide just now, the entrance, you see a lot of small work. Okay, here on the left side of the wall, you see some small work. Those are the studies that what Scarlette meant just now. I did a lot of drawings. The cube drawing, trying to understand, try to absorb cube into me, the line drawings of cube, how it looks,
Yeah.
Then I also share my sketches down there in the glass box, if you can see. It takes a process, the whole process of thinking process, to be serious into it in order to come up with the body of work. So if you can see, I did a lot of sketches and drawing before going into the major work. I did, I think about more than 100, Scarlette, yeah? About
75.
75 working drawings on paper, telling small story, short story of Sirah Nabi about the process of the whole.
So
the only
you're
way for me to
referring to
understand.
the panels, all the panels that are arranged, they're stacked.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can see, it's just like a storyboard.
Mhm.
I was trained in advertising, so a storyboard is very familiar in my life.
Yeah, I've seen some of these works displayed at some of the more fancier homes in Kuala Lumpur, and they look amazing, and fits into some of the finer homes in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah. Next.
This is supposed to be one of the major work beside the blueprint. This work is actually trying to portray the journey of ourselves. Kun Fayakun, Tiga Roh, Satu Alam. The white piece is trying to portray us before we were born. So the center piece, the black and white, is actually the current situation, us being alive. So alam roh, alam barzah in the center one. So alam nyata.
Yeah.
The black piece is alam barzah. It's where the time that we wait for the judgment day. Then if you can see the display of the bottle in the tube,
Yeah.
is that I'm trying. If you can see the bottle there are elements of materialistic that people look for in life. I have my medicine tablets there, but God in Islam, God also teach you, the only thing that you can take back in the day after is 3 things, which is the good thing that you did, the knowledge that you share with people, and the children that will go out for you when you're gone. In that, and in between the black piece and the black and white piece, that panel, I even share in the whole book some my notebooks, very personal. I seal it and I put it inside a bottle. If the collector were to break it, and there's a lot of secret story in it. So I share that.
Yeah.
So this piece of work, what I've done is I portray on the right side to show time she's not with us as human beings. That's why you see an engine of watch on top of the wings, trying to portray in the whole work Jibril, that he travels very fast. On the right corner, actually, if you see the Kaabah with the background landscape of current Mecca now.
Yeah.
The high-rise building. So why I use that is because I remember a story. Sahabat asked Rasulullah, what is the sign of Hari Kiamat? So Rasulullah said 2 things. One, when the Kaabah is being surrounded with big stone, and then he show a point of hand, the 2 fingers together, say a big stone that is going to cover Kaabah. This is what is happening now. You have big buildings surrounding Kaabah. That's what Rasulullah means by big stone.
Yeah. So this is actually one of your first, not one, it's actually the first installation piece that you have ever done, which is both participative and also interactive. Ismail, you were involved in this whole installation as well, right?
It was you had a bowl where you mixed clay or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then putting it into the little glass canister.
Yeah. And then the people will put the name tags, and then just put it into the pigeonholes. It's basically very much like leaving part of the DNA on the work itself, right?
Yeah, leaving an imprint, our own little imprint, right?
Yeah.
Inviting some engagement.
One of it is to give the experience of creating something, in the form of art for the audience. Like to play with clay, you dirty your hand, It's a raw clay.
It's also kind of a symbolic representation because, we are believed to have been created from clay well, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why I use clay, So it's a living thing, actually.
So you did a whole revisit to the Awal Hurouf Asal Hurouf itself. And this is actually held in the Core Design Gallery, so you took some alphabets, alphabets like Jim, Ho, Ha, and Alif as well, and all those. I want to touch on the next one, please, the Salam piece.
I chose the word Salam. Actually, if you notice, the whole world practice Salam, handshake in an international level, So the new norms become something that it is very, very difficult for, I think, not just me, everybody. Yeah. But that's why I came up with Salam. And if you notice, Salam is one of God's name in 99 names. The word Salam and the practice Salam, it is a serious work, practice that the whole world are told to stop doing it. So it really made me think serious about it,
Yeah. It really disrupted our sort of realities, right? I love the colors. I love the green against the blue.
Yeah, the green, actually, when you see them, it seems to glow, when you see them physically and all this. I wanted to share this a bit, which is I think it fascinates a lot of people because of the shape of the painting. With the hexagon and the pentagon itself.
Why I selected the pentagon and hexagon is basically hexagon have 6 angle corner, pentagon has 5. So again, it depicts the Rukun Iman and the Rukun Islam, the 5 pillars. But the revisit gave me opportunity to continue doing it, but in a different period of years, in a different age, So I become more mature. That was almost more than how many years. Carry a lot of experience handling the canvas and the color. Becomes more confident in producing work now and before. And when it comes to the Jawi series,
So I think that's it. Ismail, thank you very much for having both Husin and me. Actually, Husin has a lot more to share, and you can really see that his thought process, his thinking process. So, Husin, any concluding statements that you want to make?
I want to thank CIMB, Scarlette, my collector friends who has been supporting myself and the art industry. I think we are beginning to see new potential collector coming into the industry, which is very healthy. And I think one thing which I really like to look at is the younger artists. They have a different confidence level after seeing all the seniors, then how things work out. I think Scarlette could be the evidence of that. They are very energetic.
Well, most certainly, I think seniors like you also paved the way, and you set the benchmark and the precedent, right? So, and I think part of the main objective of something like CIMB October is really to rapatkan sawuf, right? Or to reduce the gap and the distance between art and the public and the audiences. And we really want to showcase the incredible talent that we have in this country. Sometimes you need something groundbreaking like the GMCA, but it's also we can also show that actually it is there, it is present, and it is accessible. So thank you very much, Scarlette. Thank you, Husin, for patching in and spending time with us today. It's wonderful to hear from an artist who's eloquent like Husin to give us a journey and insight about his works, into his mind. And thank you also to Scarlette for wonderful guiding us and throughout this journey. Assalamualaikum, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scarlette. Bye.
See you. Bye.